Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday, the 13th of September. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which seems to be quite comfortable above that line there, the uptrend line there from February. That's the floor of a rising trend channel from this time last year. We've managed to raise the support line there and looking for 8400, or in fact 8430 to be precise, at that red May resistance line projection, and then sometime in the autumn, after the autumn statement, etc., 8640 is the top of the channel. Maybe that's a target for the end of next month on a technical basis, but difficult to see how this market could get up there in the current environment, especially with CGT. On the downside, below 8160, then there's a risk of a test of the floor of that triangle and the 200-day moving average just under 8,000. RSI on the wrong side of neutral 50, so we're still on alert for a potential breakdown towards 8,000. Moving on to the DAX, and it looks as though we're in that rising trend channel from back in October. The floor of the channel there, 18,300 level with the 50-day moving average. Obviously, we've got a gap to fill there up to around 18,700, and then hopefully an end-of-day close or a weekly close above that could give us 20,100 at the top of the one-year trend channel there. RSI at 55, so we're in a good place, better than the FTSE, or the equivalent to that level, and I think what we're looking for today is potentially an end-of-day close above the top of that gap. On to the Dow, and here the picture basically echoing what we're seeing in other markets, break back above that July resistance line there at 40,700, and looking for the top of the channel there from this time last year as high as 42,800 by the end of next month, or even sooner than that. Worst on the downside probably is going to be the 50-day moving average, 40,300, but obviously can't rule out another dip to the uptrend line there from back in October last year, 39,400, as we did back at the beginning of last month. But all of it is progress within a rising trend channel, which is good. RSI at 56, so in alignment with what we're seeing at the DAX, and much better than what we're seeing at the FTSE. Moving on to Bitcoin, where the consolidation, seemingly endless consolidation, continues from March. Got that mildly falling trend channel there from March. The floor of the channel there at 52,000, top of the channel there 68,000. Really waiting for something to trigger a move outside those parameters. In the near term, there's a bit of work to be done just getting up to the 50-day line at 60,000. Obviously, that's the big round number. RSI at 49, so still struggling below that neutral 50 level. On to gold, where we look to this market to be the flag bearer of good news, and indeed, as we end the week so far, it is. Here, a rising trend channel heading now to 2670 and above, or if we get a weekly close above 2565, then we're looking for a move to that area, maybe as soon as the end of this month. This looks as though it's a market which is flying. We've had multiple bounces off RSI 50 since the beginning of July, which is something you hardly ever see. Worst case at the moment, a test of the channel floor and the 50-day line at 2485 on gold. Moving on to the stocks, and difficult to get these or extract these stocks out of the system, but here they are. First one is Avacta, and here really sort of gripping situation if you're into that kind of thing in terms of the shares being above or closing above the 200-day moving average properly. Yesterday, looking for the market to, or the stock to head up to 86 pence. Perhaps by the end of this month, which is the top of a rising trend channel from July. Upside value will be held above the 50-day line, and the price channel floor at 70 pence on an end-of-day close basis. So Avacta shareholders presumably feeling a bit more chirpy at the moment. On to Artemis, which gave us a bear trap island reversal, one of the strongest charting configurations around, and here we bounced above a rising 50-day line there at 0.6 pence, looking for a move to the 1 penny area, which is the floor, which is the top rather, of that rising trend channel, the falling trend channel from back in this time last year. Moving on to another gold play, and it's Bluebird, and here you can see that we've got a similar setup to that of Artemis in the sense we had the gap higher and we've held the top of the gap, which is actually way down at 0.7 pence above that. Looking for the shares to make progress within that rising trend channel from March up to 2.05 pence, and hoping for that perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Looks decent in the sense that we've got a rising 200-day line, and hopefully we'll close above that today, and just waiting for the RSI to get above neutral 50 versus 45 at the moment. Cizzle looking interesting as well at the moment, in the sense that We had the gap higher, unfilled gap to the upside the other week, and we've held exactly at the top of that gap there, 1.7 pence above that, looking for the top of that broadening triangle there from this time last year as high as 2.9 pence by the end of next month. Quite keen on this one, especially given the way that we gapped down in March and gapped down both in June and in September. So hopefully this V-shaped bull flag breakout or U-shaped bull flag breakout will do the trick for the shares. On to a stock which doesn't get much coverage here or anywhere, first tin, but some reason for celebration in the sense we've hit the top of that broadening triangle from this time last year and consolidated above it. We've got a V-shaped bull flag breakout, as they call them, and looking for the next level up, which should be up towards 9.5 pence, perhaps by the end of this month, especially while we remain above the 6.5 pence area, recent support for the shares. One of the most followed stocks around is Global Petroleum, and here we had the bounce off the rising 50-day line earlier in the week. We now found support at the 200-day moving average, 0.08, and looking for an initial target here, 0.14. Hopefully by the end of this month, although that might be pushing it. If you're cautious, you wait for an end-of-day close above 0.09 as the momentum trigger for such a move. On to Hemogenyx, which is moving very quickly, quickly enough to be missed yesterday, but you can see that we've got this broadening triangle base that's been in place since May. We've broken the top of that at 1.66 pence, and above that, looking for the upper parallel of that triangle as high as 1.95 pence. Well before the end of this month, you can see the 200-day line there at 1.85, so that's the initial target, I suppose. And we haven't been above the 200-day moving average since basically the end of February, so that is a significant change. The other thing to note is the way that earlier in the month we had an unfilled gap to the upside and then a gap fill rebound, and that was really the trigger for the current move. So gaps do or are worth watching on these situations. On to Indus, which has perhaps been a bit slower than we were expecting. A very good setup here, and the reason for saying that is that we've managed to find support above the 50-day line there since the end of last month, so no touches of it, which tends to be a strong signal, especially when it's rising. Initial target here, 22 pence, and then after that looking for up to 47 pence by the end of next month, although it's difficult to see what would give the shares that kind of dynamic move, but everything in place for a turnaround, especially given the gap higher that we had at the end of last month. On to LifeSafe, which hasn't been moving at all in the recent past, but started moving today. Possibility of a rising trend channel base of the initial target there around 13 pence near the 200-day moving average. But I suppose the big prize here would be a gap fill up to 16 pence. Maybe we see that by the end of this month if results or news is due from the company. Ideally, obviously, we stay on the right side of 9.5 pence, which is the floor of the channel. One or two people suggesting that the outlook is not that good for MicroSalt, but what's interesting here is that, well, a couple of points. One is that the shares are near their low at 45 when they came to market, and the other thing is that we're in a falling trend channel, which has been in place since basically the end of May, or can be drawn from the end of May. The end of the bull run here was the break of that uptrend line there from back in February around the 90 pence level, so we've obviously come down a long way since then. And at this stage, early and end of day close back above the price channel top there, 65 pence, really delaying the prospect of 40 pence. Maybe take out the people, the weak hands there, and then go up from there after that. Moving along to another stock which has come to life, which is Phoenix Copper rather, and here we're just trying to break that line of resistance there from June. That's around the 17 pence level. End of day close above that, we could be looking at a zigzag up towards 26 pence by the end of this month, echoing the April-May rally that the shares had. But rising trend channel base gives encouragement, and an end of day close above that June line would certainly help. On to PIX, which was very excited about its fundamental performance this morning, and here it looks as though the market did acknowledge that improvement. I think it's EBITDA positive, but obviously quite a few sellers in the mix. I would like to see the shares remain above the latest gap around 5.5 pence and then head up to 8.75 pence maybe later this month once the dust settles from today's good news. Amazing to see Thor exploration still below last year's peak level, so that was around the 24 pence level, given all the water under the bridge, positive water under the bridge that the company has achieved. 23 pence our target near term, maybe during the course of September. We've already had an unfilled gap to the upside and a bull flag breakout now coming through there above 18.5 pence on an end of day close basis, so hopefully the next couple of weeks we'll see Thor get back to where it belongs. Finishing off with United Oil and Gas, and here broadening triangle base. I've got a sort of U-shaped turnaround, which is always exciting. 0.16, the initial September resistance, so above that, looking for 0.24, hopefully by the end of this month. Maybe there's news from Jamaica, etc. Gap to fill there at 0.175, which is maybe the first sign to look at to trigger a turnaround, given that an end-of-day close above that should then lead to follow-through. That's it from me today. More updates over the weekend.